Hi everyone, it's Val. Today I'm going to talk about something a bit different. I'm going to talk about technology, which I'm not a huge techie person, but I want to talk about my experience with the minimal phone. I had this phone for 4 months, yeah, since January, and there's so many issues with this. My experiences with it, the issues I saw with it, and my opinions. So if you're interested, please continue watching. Like everyone else in this world, I love social media. I think social media is very great at creating communities, but it can feel isolating. And by that point, I was spending hours on Twitter/X. I was spending hours on TikTok, spending like 6 or 7 hours on various types of social media, that I was starting to get ads about the minimal phone, that it's a dumb phone to get you off of your screen time. And I thought it was a good call. So I ended up getting the phone. It took a year for them to ship the phone out. I got the phone a year later, and it took some time to get used to because I went from an iPhone 13 to the minimal phone. Okay, so the specs is the minimal phone is a productivity-focused Android 14 device featuring a 4.3-inch 600 by 800E paper touchscreen, a physical 35P QWERTY keyboard, and a MediaTek Helio G99 chipset. It focuses on reducing screen time addiction with a 3000 mAh battery, 16 MP rear/5 MP front camera, 15-watt wireless charging, and a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. So that's what this phone does. That's all the specs of it. Now, my issues with this phone is I do like the physical keyboard, but the issue is that it was poorly designed. It's like I compared it at first with it being a BlackBerry, you know how the ergonomic design it had, but this phone isn't that. Let's see. I'm gonna say hello, how are you, through text, and I'm gonna have it with the timer here so you can see how long it takes for me to write this down. All right. See? So the keyboard is like, I like the physical keyboard, but the keys I feel are too small and they're too into the actual phone. And my even with my fingers, like I'm pressing on other keys. It is poorly designed. I do like the Paperlike Kindle screen. I think I still have a book on here. Really weird book, but I do have a book on here, which I think is really cool, but it isn't practical. Some of the issues I've seen with it is that it says server unreachable. And that is pretty scary because I've had to call my service provider like 4 times and it wouldn't work, to where if I'm out and about, I would have to tell people to call me because I couldn't call them. It was not a fun experience, not even a little bit, to deal with that. The camera isn't the best either. I didn't like how weird it looked. An Android, so it connects to like Auto Android and Google Maps, which was okay, but I really do like Apple Maps and I really do like Apple CarPlay. So this phone just felt really unreliable and it didn't help in any way, and it brought more anxiety into my life than anything else. Like, yeah, having less screen time is a good idea, but not being able to reach out to people when I'm outside the house is a little scary. I did not enjoy that. Still don't enjoy that. Just did not like that. You know, I came back to an iPhone. I have an iPhone 17. It's very nice. I know Apple and Samsung has their issues, but one of the things I can say definitively now is that at least they're reliable, at least for the majority of the time. You don't have server unreachable, you still make calls outside of your house, but at least you have this. That to me is a great idea. Like when you're in real danger, you can do this. This to me is so good. It reminds me of the K-drama My Demon when she uses this, and she actually was able to send her emergency contacts information. And I think, if I'm correct, she had an iPhone. Yes, there's issues with Samsung, there's issues with Apple, and you know, sometimes their business model or their business practices isn't the best, but at least they're reliable. For the most part, they are reliable. I cannot say the same thing for this one. This one isn't reliable. This one gave me so much anxiety. It feels like a gimmick. In a lot of ways, it feels like a gimmick. Other people's reviews of the minimal phone, just probably more on the tech side because I'm not a techie person at all. I'm very much a boomer when it comes to those things. So we're gonna look at some Reddit posts. Okay, another person says, I've been trying to give the minimal phone a fair shot, but honestly, it's just not for me. The idea behind the device is cool, but from what I've seen on Discord, most of the fanboys seem to have an entire collection of dumb phones for different uses. That's not me. I actually want a minimalist setup, one single phone that does what I need, and the minimal phone just isn't cut out for that. Screen experience, the display is a major letdown, poor quality, lots of flashing, ghosting, and it doesn't feel solid. The performance feels slow too. Using it feels like I've gone back to 2015 Kindle Fire with a calculator screen and having to manually click a button to remove the garbage and refresh the screen. And that's just something I can't get on board with. Design and ergonomics. In my opinion, the design feels juvenile and under-engineered. It is uncomfortable to hold thanks to the sharp edges, and the keyboard looks like it was designed in the 70s. BlackBerry spent years refining their keyboards to be ergonomic and intuitive, using space smartly. This phone feels like it missed all those lessons. Size, I backed this expecting a compact, no frills device. Instead, it feels bulky with a fat bedsy and a screen that weighs too big for what it's trying to be. Less minimal, more meh. Battery life, LOL. Customer service and communication, I prefer not to speak. If I speak, I'm in trouble. In a nutshell, if you're into collecting quirky tech and juggling multiple niche phones, maybe this fits in your lineup. But if you're like me and just want one reliable minimalist device to get you through the day, it's not this one. So this person definitely gets it. Like, this phone isn't it. I'm gonna actually read my experience with customer service because I think it's actually insane. I'm just gonna, cut out any important parts. Customer service for the minimal company says, I'm very sorry to hear about the issues you're experiencing with our product. I understand how frustrating it can be when things don't work as expected. Unfortunately, I am unable to process a refund request at this time because your package arrived more than 14 days ago, which is beyond our 14-day refund policy. I apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. Best regards, the minimal team. So yeah, it's not a good phone. I'm not a techie person by any means, which is why I went back to the iPhone. Because in my honest opinion, the iPhone is very user-friendly. I grew up with the iPhone my whole life. I had an iPod Shuffle, and then I had an iPod Touch, and then I finally got an iPhone, I think 4S or something. I just grew up with iPhone. It is something I like. I like Apple products. I have an iPad here where I do my editing, like I enjoy at least the iPad and the iPhone. So for me personally, it's just not a good phone. It is just not a good phone. There's just no other way I can put it. If you're interested, I'll have the link in the description down below. But minimal phone, more like minimal, no. I don't recommend it unless you're a collector or someone who is interested in trying it. But the customer service isn't the best. Like, it's actually very bad. And the product sucks. It is not good. It doesn't even compare to Apple and Samsung, the titans of this industry. And it feels like a gimmick. And that's me saying that as someone who's experienced using this phone for 4 months. So that's my honest opinion. There you go, guys. Like and subscribe and share with someone who you think wants to know more about the minimal phone. See you guys later. Have a great day or night. Bye.